Hello, welcome to another program from SCLC office, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC today. Thank you for joining us again. And thank you for all of the feedback that we've been getting. Ladies and gentlemen, it just won't stop. You know, we have to keep fighting this thing. People get relaxed, they get in their comfort zone, and they just think that everything's going to be all right. You know, I was just thinking about the 1965 Voter Rights Act, how we assume that every so many years we would extend it and we still will have our opportunities in terms of fairness, justice, and equality. But we're going back to state rights. And repetition is the mother of skill. I will forever remind you that we have lost our rights in terms of the 1965 Voter Rights Act. And let me tell you another real issue that people are really not talking about. The homelessness of our people, all ethnicity and background, black, white, green, or blue. The homelessness within our communities all over this country. And I know you see it in Atlanta if you live here. I know you see it in LA if you live in Los Angeles. I know you see it in New York. But let's just talk about your community and the fact that people are living on the streets. Many folks have jobs, but guess what? They're sleeping in their cars. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious. This is serious. It's the haves versus the have-nots. The haves versus the have-nots. Because America, with all its wealth, in leading the world in terms of its economic success, ladies and gentlemen, we must come together and realize none of God's children should be left out on the streets, out on the sidewalks, of feeling that they're not a part of the human race. That's where we have begun. That's where we are living today. That's where we are headed into the future. You know, I'm right here on Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. And the mentality of the people that surround the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the King Center and the churches, you know, it just amazes me that we have leadership throughout this country that would not bring about a resolution to a problem such as discrimination on housing. Housing is a very serious issue that we have. Of course, we have racism, discrimination, we have prejudice, we have all types of different categories in terms of poor people. One fellow told me, still you talking about poor people all the time, and we all must raise ourselves up and work together and get out of our conditions. He said, but I'm no longer poor. I'm poor. I got one hole. That's what he told me, right here on Auburn Avenue. What are you going to do for me, brother? And when you present yourself, even going to church and looking decent and going to worship the Lord or whatever, there is a resentment from those who've been left out of the process. And then the closest thing that they see are us, people like us, work hard every day, go to church, go to the grocery store, but we look like we're not a part of them or concerned about their conditions. They look at us as the enemy. They look at us because we're closer to them than the capital in Washington, D.C. of this great country. They look at us as being a part of the problem for them. So what am I saying? You have to really understand what the condition is, and they use a lot of profanity. They use a lot of profanity, and sometimes you can't even make eye contact with them. I've seen them without clothes on. I've seen them going to the garbage can. to get a meal. I see them sleeping under the bridges, the overpasses. I see them right here at our office in a wooded area behind our building. I see not many, but quite a few of them every morning day going back and forth, living on the ground, sleeping on fences, anywhere that they can find shelter. Our breezeway to the entrance of the office, they come and set up their bedrooms right in front of our office and use our office for their restroom. I mean, we have a serious problem, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not demeaning nothing about the human spirit. What I'm telling you is that we must help all concerns of the human race and our people. It is serious. I know the mayor, former Congresswoman Karen Bass, Mayor Karen Bass now in Los Angeles, was talking just recently that homelessness is the most serious problem that the city of LA and her leadership must find a way to resolve. And I'm saying, right here in Atlanta, for many of years been known for the prosperity of economic development and what have you. But ladies and gentlemen, things change. It's not the same. People who had jobs are sleeping in their cars now. People who might have a job lost their homes or can't afford to rent. They're sleeping in their cars or subway stations, bus terminals, outside, in breezeways, anywhere there's a corner to protect them from the rain or from the cold or the heat. Ladies and gentlemen, the homelessness problem that's in this country should not be. Repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of skill. What are you talking about, Steele? I'm talking about Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo, who said that there's more misery among the poor than there is humanity among the rich. We must sensitize all Americans to let them know that this didn't happen overnight. Something is wrong with this. If you were fortunate enough to be in a family and you inherit a certain amount of wealth, you need to share that wealth. Dr. King said, and we all talk about Dr. King, and I quote, "We need a redistribution of the wealth in this country." That was Dr. King. And he also said, if we don't learn to live together, we will perish as fools. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. We have gotten great responses because this is not your traditional network. We tell it like it is because love is what love does, and we love you. God bless you.